It's Cabel here from One-to-One Fitness, and today I want to talk to you about why you are eating too little and why you can never lose or Hey, it's Cabel from One-to-One Fitness, and today I want to talk to you about why you're eating too little and why you can never attain permanent weight loss if you're eating too little. So this discussion, we're going to talk to you about how we set the number of calories per day that you should be consuming versus the number of calories a day that you are consuming now. First, I can tell you on the side here, I've written some numbers. And this stands for the number of meals that you might be consuming in a day currently. So if you're consuming 3, 4, 5, or 6 meals, the numbers beside it represent what I've seen with the thousands of people I've trained here in Red Deer over the last 10 to 14 years. So essentially, all the clients I've seen, most women on average are consuming approximately 300 calories per meal. Most men consuming somewhere in the relation or neighborhood of 400 to 500 calories per meal. So this is by reviewing thousands of nutritional journals that I've come to this conclusion. Now, if you're consuming a lot of processed or fast food, these numbers will go higher, but have less real nutritional value. So a female that's currently consuming 3 meals a day on average may only be consuming approximately 900 calories. The equivalent for a male, about 1,500 calories. You can kind of see how that goes up. 4 meals, 1,200. For the men, 2,000, 5, 1,500, and so on. So that will give you a very ballpark rough estimate as to how many calories you might be consuming a day now. Don't trust my judgment on this. Keep a food journal, use a calorie counter, and see for yourself how close that actually is. So now let's talk about how we set calories. The first thing is that we do something called a BMR measurement, which stands for basal metabolic rate. Now, I'm sure you may have heard this. If you look below the video, you're going to find the equation for how to calculate your own BMR. For the sake of this example, we're going to use mine. My BMR calculated out is 1,750 calories per day. Now, sounds great because if I'm consuming 4 meals on average and I'm a male, I'm consuming 2,000 calories or more than my BMR. So logic stands to reason that if I wanted to lose some weight, perhaps I should maintain portion control or eat less or exercise more to make sure I have the caloric deficit to be under my BMR to lose weight. Very common logic. It's what traditional weight loss has taught us for years. But here's the problem. Most people don't realize that basal metabolic rate is the number of calories your body needs in 24 hours to sustain life, existence, normal function with 0 activity. Meaning if you don't get out of bed each morning, your BMR will be sufficient. But I know that you're watching this video, so even if you're watching this video in bed, you're doing more than 0 activity and will require more calories than your BMR. So let's talk about some of the things each day that cause our body to require more calories. We think of 3 things in particular that are all illustrated by these abbreviations. Let's talk about the first one, which we label SDA, which stands for Specific Dynamic Action of Food. In a very short sense, basically digestion. So the process that your body goes through to break down food, to utilize it, to absorb it within your body. Now, this estimation can range greatly depending on the kind of foods that you're consuming, but we consider it as an average of somewhere between 200 and 300 calories per day. So let me illustrate how that can change. A potato the size of your fist would be approximately 200 calories. Now, if you were consuming broccoli by comparison, how much broccoli would it take to make up that same 200 calories of potato? Well, substantially more, probably 5, 6 times as much. So just from a straight visual, you can understand why it would take more energy or more resources for the body to break down the broccoli and ultimately use more calories in digestion. The next thing that we consider is ADL, which stands for Activities of Daily Living. You know, what is it that you spend most of your time doing? Unfortunately, we all do this crazy thing called work. You know, what is your work lifestyle like? Are you a desk jockey that sits in an office for a number of hours per day? Or are you a laborer that's out pulling wrenches or digging ditches? Because there can be a huge variance in the number of calories that you're consuming. We're going to assume that in most cases these days, most of us have a pretty average or sedentary kind of day at work. So what we assume is somewhere around 400 calories per day. Now, to give you an idea what that means, if you were to relate it to exercise, 400 calories throughout the whole day for your whole kind of day-to-day activities, from work to running around, getting the groceries and housework. So what we're saying is that's basically the equivalent of a brisk walk on a treadmill for about an hour. Okay, so you can see or gauge immediately whether your day is more difficult than that or less difficult, and the number of calories is going to change. Now, as a personal trainer and fitness professional, we really want everyone to exercise. We all know the benefits of exercise. Cardiovascular exercise helps strengthen our heart and reduce the incidence of disease. Resistance exercise improves the strength of bones, increasing body mass and bone density, allowing us to be healthy and fit and mobile for a lifetime. Additionally, gaining that crazy thing called muscle actually helps us keep body fat off, which we're going to talk about in another video. Okay, but essentially we want you to do some exercise. So exercise also can vary greatly. So assuming that maybe you do resistance training a couple of days a week and cardiovascular training, say 3 to 5 days a week, if we take all of those calories and add them together, we're going to find an average of somewhere between 300 and 500 calories per day, 7 days a week. So now we want to add these together and kind of get a sense of how many calories we should be consuming. So for me in this example, if we only consider the lower end of the numbers, we're at 1950, we're at 2350, at 2750, so somewhere between 2750 and 3000 calories per day is what I need to consume just to maintain my current body weight. So if we go back to my chart, if I'm not consuming at least 6 meals per day, I'm under the energy requirement that my body just needs to sustain itself right now and keep itself healthy. So it stands to reason. If I'm consuming less, I should lose some weight. But there's a problem with that logic, you see, because our body has to find energy somewhere. So it would be great if it was find it from our body fat. But the thing is that our body fat takes very little effort to maintain. So few people realize this, but for every pound of body fat on your body, in every 24 hours, the body has to spend 1 calorie to maintain that fat. By comparison, every pound of muscle on your body, it has to spend 50 calories to maintain that same pound of muscle. So 50 times as much energy. So if you were in crunch time and in your home, for instance, maybe you had to cut back some expenses because of a change in your job situation or something, which bills would you cut out? Well, I suspect that you wouldn't cut out the heat or the gas or like the water, things like that, because those are essential, but you might consider giving up the satellite TV that was more expensive and that you didn't entirely need. Well, this is how the body looks at muscle and body fat. It really doesn't need all the muscle that we often carry around with us to survive, okay? And there's far more energy to maintain it, so it would rather give up that muscle as opposed to body fat. So it's really, really critical that we consume enough calories to sustain not only our muscle mass, but our immune system and keep our body functioning. It's just how we use the efficiency of these 3 mechanisms to promote body fat. Now, I don't want to rattle on in this video forever, but the goal today is to give you a sense of understanding of how many calories you should be consuming per day or on a daily basis. So hopefully you'll tune into more articles and more videos as I'm going to teach you the other aspects of this, or you can check out our 3-week home fat loss because it will teach you a little bit more about this as well. Either way, if you're watching this video on YouTube, check out our website at personaltrainingreddeer.com. There's dozens of articles like this, more information as well, and you can access our 3-week home fat loss. Thank you.